Empowered people make informed decisions that lead to living a life without regret. This is Sara Khaki and Shawna Woods from Atlanta Divorce Law Group, and this is the Happily Ever After Divorce Podcast. Welcome to the Happily Ever After Divorce Podcast. I'm Sara Khaki with Atlanta Divorce Law Group, and I'm joined by our very own managing partner, Shawna Woods. Shawna, today we're going to dive into one of our favorite types of client to help out, and it's our professional women out there. A good percentage of our clients are professional women, and obviously since you and I are professional women, we feel like we can relate to them, bond with them, and understand them, and get everything they've done in their lives to accomplish everything they've accomplished. But they do seem to attract a high percentage of narcissists in their lives. It is interesting. I haven't run the data in our office, but I would say a more than average number of our professional women clients are in a marriage or in the process of divorcing a spouse that is high conflict with narcissist traits or has actually been diagnosed as a narcissist. And you and I thought it would be interesting to dive into that and understand, why is that? Why is it that a intelligent, highly educated professional woman who most times has worked on her physical health and her fitness and would be in a relationship with a unhealthy person, somebody with the narcissist traits or a personality disorder or high conflict drama personality or a diagnosed narcissist? Shawna, have any initial thoughts on the why?
I do. And I do think that, for the most part, it's not as if our professional women are out there going, oh, yes, that narcissist, that's the one I want, right? They don't present themselves to our women as narcissists, right? They present themselves as what the women are trying to be and emulating. They are most often professional men. They are high achieving. They probably are taking care of themselves. They look good. They present well. And everyone is looking for this match. And we've talked about it before. Do you share the same values? But when we look a little bit deeper inside the narcissist, they're not sharing those values. They're mirroring your traits, right, to attract this professional women. I do think it goes a lot deeper than that, but that's kind of surface level, is what they're attracted to. What the narcissist is looking for, well, at least some types of narcissists are looking for, is this wonderful, attractive person. When we say attractive, we mean all sorts. You're professional, you are doing your self-work, those type of things, most narcissists are going to find very attractive.
So yes, all those things about that professional woman is part of what the narcissist finds a status for himself as. This builds up my status. This is somebody that I can show off and talk about. And even when, the charm period runs out on the narcissist, even after the fact, what we find a lot is he may be mistreating her and the emotional abuse may start kicking in, but to his friends when she's not around, or to his family, he's still bragging about her and still using her to vicariously build his own ego up. And I agree. I think there are some superficial, on surface reasons, stereotypical reasons for why this coupling happens between these two different types. And then there's obviously the stuff that you and I would love to dive deeper into and ask why. But let's still get through some of the superficial stereotype ones, because I do think enough people listen to the show who may be in this position and will feel less lonely if those things are addressed, and feel less like, why is this happening to me? And if they realize, like, no, you're not alone in what you're going through. So some of the things I definitely see is, a professional woman has probably gone through a lot of her life having to walk into certain rooms and have to carry the room, whether it's social settings, professional settings, and have to carry the energy of providing for what the room needs, charming the room, making sure that she is properly networking, getting to meet people, getting to know people, being of service to people. If she is in a high professional career, she's probably had to do that. In her social life, she's had to do that. And it is probably one of her wishes to have a partner on her side that can do that with her, that can walk into a room and help her carry a room, that can host a party, with her, that can show up to social events and can have his own in those social events with her. And I think in the charm period of the narcissist, he can do that wonderfully. He can definitely be the person you take to the office Christmas party. He can be the one you take home to a larger family event. After a while, intimate family events will not work out, but initially, the larger family parties, they will all love him. Your coworkers will all love him. And I think that as professional women who were always making decisions, we're always in situations where we have to provide or protect our loved ones or people that we work with. I mean, we can relate to this, Shauna. It's nice sometimes to have a masculine energy that is stronger than your masculine energy to come in and say, hey, take that off of your shoulders. I got this. I am going to provide the masculine energy you need right now so that you can be more in your feminine and you can be more vulnerable. And that, I think, in the charm period of the narcissist, he does provide beautifully.
And I do think he looks for it, right? He looks
Yes.
for somebody who wants to be vulnerable with him, who and only him, right? Who respects on a surface level, and I'm going to emphasize that it's on a surface level of respect. That quality that a lot of the professional women do embody of walking into a room and having that power
The
of
presence.
that presence and knowing that you can command attention, and it's not in an odd way or a bad way, it's commanding the attention of whatever your expertise is, speaking on it and making sure that you are understood and people are listening to you. And usually you're in control of the situation, whether it's at work or whether it's in a social situation. A lot of our professional women are the women who are in kind of control of those situations. That's very attractive to a narcissist who wants to have that on his sleeve, right? But I also think that some of these things that we are genuinely looking for, because we also talk about the narcissist as if they're not genuine, because I do think they have some feelings, right? You can't go, narcissism is a scale, and very few people are all the way over to the 10, right? Some of them
Right.
are following. So there's some underlying things with their personality disorder and their personality traits, then turn this into a negative thing. And I'll use an example of what I was thinking about. When we're talking about our professional women, a lot of times we're not talking about them dating and marrying in the ages that we are, right? We're talking about them dating and marrying in the ages of early to mid 20s or even into the
Yes.
early 30s, right? Where you're not only more susceptible to things, but also you're looking to create a family. And when you're looking to create a family, what are you looking for? Somebody who's a provider, somebody who's strong, somebody who you can feel vulnerable with. So the narcissist is presenting all these things, although that's again a cookie crumble kind of situation. So it's not a shocker that a professional woman was like, okay, check. That works for what I want for my family.
You make such a good point because I also think that the genesis of that professional, high achieving, highly educated woman is somebody that always made calculated and strategic decisions,
Yes.
right? Sometimes that can be to your detriment because sometimes you make decisions based on how does it look on paper. And I think a narcissist that's able to gain the attention of the professional woman looks amazing on paper.
I am so glad you said that because we were just talking off screen beforehand how there are a type of women who do attract a narcissist, and typically it would be the type of woman I am in
Right.
particular. And I was reflecting upon that because I did date a narcissist when I was younger, and I repel them now, I believe. But when I was thinking about it, I remember thinking I actually wasn't attracted to the person at first, but on paper, he was fabulous.
Mhm.
On paper, he checked all the boxes of what society thought I wanted, what I thought I wanted because of society. All of these things were tick, tick, tick. He had it. So a lot of the times when there were little red flags popping up in our dating, I'm overlooking them because on paper, damn, he looked good.
And if you're in your 20s or even in the early 30s, you're going home, mom and dad's like, "What's wrong with you? This guy is amazing," you know? Um, it's the Taylor Swift line of "You charm my dad with your self-effacing jokes, sipping coffee like you're on a late night show." Yes, I can quote her lyrics at this point, thanks to my daughter. But I literally, when I hear that line from All Too Well, I think of the narcissist male who knows how to charm up the family in that charm school period, how gets all the friends completely enrolled into, wow, this guy's the nicest. He is taking care of everybody. And once you have an army of your family members and friends telling you, this guy looks great on paper, he's so fun to be around, he seems to be all over you because he's love bombing you those first 6 months, and everybody's look how affectionate he is. You're at some point, it's really hard to listen to your gut because your gut's being washed out with the calculated decision of what he looks like on paper, and what you're hearing and seeing from family and friends. And to your point, like, you're young and you are making decisions on the best data you have. I didn't know when I was in my 20s what a narcissist even was. I didn't even know to look out for that.
I don't think any of us did. And it is said that the narcissist personality disorder is becoming more prevalent, not just more recognized. And we can delve into that on another podcast because it's really about some social media that I think a lot of
Oh,
narcissists
for
are
sure.
ignoring.
There is definitely a buzzword with it.
Yeah, but I do think the professional woman who may not have had that experience in her 20s or 30s and who is now dating in 40s and beyond may not also know to look out for the red flags. And I think it's important to educate yourself about what type of narcissist, are attracted to you. Are you attracting them? And watching out for these red flags if you are dating, and especially if you're dating after a divorce, right? Because you're so much more vulnerable to yourself and to the narcissist of falling into a relationship after coming out of a bad relationship, after coming out of a toxic relationship, right? Because the narcissist wants to attach themselves to your vulnerability, right? I am your savior. I am the one who can make this all better for you. Come shine and be on, that guy was a loser. Let me rescue you.
So this is such a good point, because what is another need every professional woman has? And this is a pain point they all have. Well, not all, but a majority. I make men uncomfortable with my success. Right? That is the storyline. That's the stereotypical storyline of the professional woman. Guess who knows that storyline? The narcissist man. He knows that
Absolutely.
that is the professional woman's stereotypical pain point. So, what is he going to emulate as far as traits to make you feel safe and vulnerable and comfortable? Talk about how amazing it is that you're such a high achiever, how incredible of a woman you are, and that he knows that he's not threatened at all by it. If anything, he celebrates it and he celebrates you. And
And it's
instead of being authentic about it and honest about it, because it is, it would be completely honest and authentic to say, you know what, like, I'm a little intimidated by this, but I think I'm gonna need to step it up if I'm gonna be with somebody like you. That would be an honest response.
it would be, but I don't think that's what they're getting. And
No.
for the women who have not maybe yet realized that success because they were staying at home, and someone comes and says, "Oh, I see your ambition. I see the things that you want to do. And they'll tell you, I'm going to support you in that." And what they mean by that is they're going to tell you that they're going to support you. And they may even tell you nice things along the way, but they're not going to actually do any of the work that comes into supporting somebody who's trying to, say, grow a business or go on a different venture. Right? They don't lay that foundation. They just, "Oh, I'm here."
Yeah.
And at first that's very comforting. But yeah, somebody believes, look, it's nice to me. Look, all the wonderful things that he's saying to me. But if there's no action behind it, that's a big red flag.
Completely agree. Shawna, do you think there's any other cautions to give, the 20-year-old Sarah, 20-year-old Shawnas out there who are still working on their careers, haven't yet figured out what they're going after, but they know they're going after something and they're ambitious? And what's some cautions you would give them?
Well, the first thing that I would say is do not, and we all have a tendency to do this, do not ignore the red flags. When your gut is telling you there's something off, take a minute, listen to yourself. Maybe journal about it, maybe talk to your friends, maybe even talk to a therapist and say, here are some of the things that are just a little, I'm not really catching on what it's bothering me, but it's bothering me. Don't just fly past them because, oh, I want to be in a relationship and this guy seems good on paper, or this guy seems good. I'm just being overly dramatic, or I'm just being overly protective of myself. No, you need to listen to yourself. These are huge decisions, and I think it's really important for you to take your time in considering who you're allowing into your life, because they are affecting not just your dating and your love life, they're affecting your entire life. They can put a huge damper on where you're wanting to be and where you're going, and they can also put a huge damper on your other relationships. So that's, for me, that's the step that I would say, is listen to yourself.
Yeah, and I'm going to piggyback on that. I think that as women, as we get older, the gift we receive more from ourselves is our intuition. And it's not that it wasn't there before and all of a sudden shows up when you get older. It's that you are listening to it and paying attention to it, and so it gains more of a voice. And there's a amazing book, one of my favorite books ever, called Relentless by Tim Grover. And he says that the difference between good and great is that it's not about you trusting your instincts. It's about your instincts trusting you. And I think that when you are listening to your instincts trust you more to speak up more. And when you're not listening to them and you're shoving them down, they lose their voice and you don't hear them. But that's the trick of being a younger professional woman. Part of what got you so far is being pleasing, being agreeable, and you sometimes don't want to rock the boat too much. So you don't, when you see the red signs, you see the red flags, everything Shawna's talking about, you talk yourself out of it. And you have a lot of data points to talk yourself out of it in this specific scenario, because you have family members and friends and a resume of a potential husband that looks like, man, instincts, shut up, you're freaking out, nothing to worry about here, everything's good. But I'll tell you, almost every person I've spoken to, every female I've spoken to that fits this profile, they'll always tell you, there were some early signs, but I chose to ignore them. There were some early signs, but I chose to avoid them because my family loved him, or my friends, or our friends got along really well, or, I knew that marriage in the beginning should be this, this, and that.
Or society is telling me he's the perfect person, or he has, look at all he's accomplished, look how intelligent he is. When you're having to do that to yourself, when you're having to justify while you're with this person, that's the biggest red flag of all.
Absolutely. Thank you, Shawna.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Happily Ever After Divorce podcast. If you'd like to learn more, go to atlantadivorcelawgroup.com/resources.